rookie, without Kincaid, without a right tackle. I mean, they almost had 400 yards. They were great on third down. They dominate time of possession. How? I mean, is it? It looks like it's the most interesting Bills offense since Josh got there.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, Colin, because I found that to be one of the most sort of enigma wrapped in a riddle performances that I've seen all year, because they could not run the ball, yet they controlled the ball for over 34 minutes and were phenomenal on third down. And so that's really strange. One thing they've done all year, by the way, is in the low red zone, 10 yards and in, they've been able to run the ball really, really effectively. And that's a really important element. And, of course, Josh Allen is a part of that. But James Cook has been really effective in the low red zone, scoring touchdowns. He's a little more physical than people think. And I'm certainly not comparing James Cook to Emmitt Smith or saying that their offense is like the Cowboys of the early 90s. But remember how when the Cowboys got in the low red zone, they just gave it to Emmitt, and they seemed like they scored all the time?
Yep.
The Bills, they get in the low red zone, and James Cook scores touchdowns. I think he's got 11 touchdowns this year, and the large majority come from the low red zone. They don't have what you'd call a true number one receiver. Obviously, Cooper is there now, but he's only played 2 games, so we don't know exactly how that will play out. But they're kind of, I think what Josh Allen has done better this year, Colin, than any previous year, far and away, is minimize risk. And that's a weird thing to say about Josh Allen, the way people normally think about him, but he's minimized risk this year more than he ever has.
Yeah. I really want to emphasize and highlight the whole running in the red zone, because for those of you who may not know, and I don't mean to insult anyone who knows a ton about football and stuff, you know, red zone, both offense and defense, but definitely looking at it through the offensive line, like it may as well be just like a completely different offense, a completely different approach. It's just almost like a different style of football altogether. Everything kind of changes and how you kind of approach it. It's why you see some teams that are amazing in the red zone, awful outside of it, or vice versa. They can get to the 20 pretty easily, but they can't stop it. Or you see other teams defensively. You see this a lot of times defensively. They give up a ton of yards, but once they get down the red zone, they're able to lock it down and, you know, force field goals. So it's essentially like a different playbook altogether. And so being able to run in the red zone, it's you know, he says it's important. It's essentially a superpower, especially come time playoffs, especially when the weather is going to be cold or weird or whatever. It's you know, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, you know, in the red zone. It's cold. It's like 20 degrees out, and it's a fourth quarter. Being able to hand the ball off, milk that clock, get that touchdown, minimize the risk of a turnover, a drop pass, whatever it may be, is so huge. So huge. Because even the best players in the world get a little tight. They feel it. They feel that angst. And so it's like when you're talking about the Bills, playoffs, all or nothing, let's go. Being able to run the ball in the red zone, I'll say it again, is an absolute superpower. Think about what iced the game against the Chiefs. Josh Allen running the ball in for a touchdown. That's the superpower. It's so much easier that way. It's serious. I mean, it's just so much better that way. It's just it travels better on the road. You can deal with the crowd noise. It's easier for everyone involved. There's less angst. It's more, in a lot of ways, it's more demoralizing. I think it's way more demoralizing for a defense when they just can't stop the run. I know it can be pretty fun and exciting to like throw the ball 35 yards, 40 yards, whatever for a touchdown. That obviously can be, you know, pretty demoralizing too, but there's something more physical about running where it's just like, see this ball right here? We're just going to hand it off. Look, that guy right there, we're handing it off to him. Go stop him. Here you go. We're handing it off and you can't stop it. You can't stop it. There's just something about it. It's just like, you know, pound your chest out. And so I think that just bodes so well. And you can see the bounce, right? 18 passing touchdowns, 18 rushing touchdowns. So it's not to say that you're obviously still not throwing the ball and using Josh Allen, you know, his arm, not just his legs, and then of course the back's legs. But I just think that for the Bills, especially this late in the season, my mind is now just consistently going to playoffs to playoffs to playoffs. I kind of called people out for constantly looking at it through the lens of the playoffs earlier on in the season. Now that we're getting later in the season, now that we see them beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, we see what they're capable of doing. It's like, that's where my mind's going with the Buffalo Bills. It's like, all right, like I'm seeing that game. I'm essentially putting myself in the spot of the game last year, right? It's dark, it's cold, the bright lights, the crowd, Kansas City Chiefs, playoffs, win or go home. I mean, what do you think? Because we saw the receivers drop the balls. We saw multiple drops, 2 or 3. It hit them in the hands. Now imagine if you just hand the ball off and get that 6 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 15 yards, touchdown. Just boom, man. You don't have to, when you can run the ball, you also don't have to rely on some of these larger chunk throws. You get to dominating the clock, keeping Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, whoever you're facing, on the bench chewing on their mouthpiece with a big heavy coat on them. That's how you win football games. That's how you win in the playoffs. So I love that Greg Cosell highlighted that, because it's such a crucial part of this team and what makes them more resilient, more aggressive, more assertive, more dominant, more in control. It's just, and so much more can build off of that. It allows Josh Allen to mitigate some risk and take less chances because he doesn't need to. That's why he's doing a better job of taking less risks, because he doesn't need to as much. It's less, their offense and their team and their ability to win is less predicated on that. So he doesn't have to. And again, that's credit to the team. That's credit to Joe Brady. It's credit to Josh Allen. I mean, it's credit to everyone involved, honestly. Really, truly. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. This season is gosh, something tells me. And I feel like I'm going to forget that I even said this in this video, so I'll never be able to find it come time February. But something tells me that the way how this season's going to unfold in the playoffs, Super Bowl, I don't know. I feel that it's just going to really catch people by surprise. It's going to be something really kind of interesting. Like, and again, this is not a prediction. I'm just trying to give out like random examples. Like the Buffalo Bills blow out the Kansas City Chiefs, AFC champion. It's like not even close. Like they just absolutely dominate them. Like something just where it's just like, wow, people did not, they thought maybe this team could win or something, but like not like that. Like, wow, they smoked the Ravens, like whatever it is. Like it's going to be just like, oh my God. And then until the next game, the next week starts, people will be like, is this Josh Allen letting everyone know that he's the GOAT now? Or like whatever it is. Like something tells me that I don't know. It's just the way how this season has gone, the way how all these teams are constructed, the way how these teams are all playing. I can't see history repeating itself how it's been going. Whether it's with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the whoever's, the Lions, the Eagles, like it just feels like we're going to get a different ending to this season how it's normally gone. So, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it, honestly. So we will find out soon enough. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Buffalo Bills and how their offense is significantly more balanced and how they've been able to run the ball in the red zone? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.